The system is running. Oh, hello, everyone. It's so good that today is our honor to have Rosie to be with us. Rosie is a famous tour guide in Cambridge, and she has been doing tour in Cambridge for about 24 years. And recently she has written a book which you could buy on the university website. And Rosie, can you tell us why you would have the book written during the lockdown?
Yeah, well, hi, everybody. And can I just say the honour is mine to be part of this. I'm very happy to be talking to everybody today. And why did I write the book? Well, I'd already written another book 10 years ago and had it published.
Yes.
And I was wondering about writing another version of it and updating it. But I was very tied up with tours. I did a lot of personal tours for families and conferences and so on. And I decided in the end, in 2019, that's what I was going to carry on doing. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And that changed all our lives, didn't it? And made us stand back from what we're doing and reassess things. There were no visitors to Cambridge. So I wanted other things to occupy my time. And I thought, well, now's the perfect time to write the book. And it was a very special time. I know lockdown meant a lot of things to different people, and I know it's been very hard for a lot of people. For me, it was a very productive time and just amazing to be able to walk through Cambridge. I live near the centre of Cambridge. I could walk through the centre of Cambridge and there's practically nobody there.
Yes, that's amazing. Yes.
So this picture of the River Cam was taken in lockdown from a public bridge. I wasn't inside any private grounds, but isn't that just beautiful?
Amazing.
Nobody there at all. Incredible honour.
So, Rosie, you're going to share with us 5 secret green places today. Can you start with the first one? Is it the River Cam?
No, it's not. So the River Cam is really the background, just to, because if people think of peaceful places in Cambridge, they think of the river. It was even highlighted on the national news recently with a heat wave. Come to Cambridge and go on the river and go punting to cool down. And so in the early part of the day, it's wonderful. Later on, it gets very busy, even though it's still beautiful and wonderful. So I've chosen 5 places where you can escape from this busyness. It's very easy. Everybody gets the same route in central Cambridge, but just divert by a couple of roads and you're in a magical place, which is so much quieter and more peaceful. So that's what I've done. I've chosen 5 places.
Okay, now let's go for the first one, shall we?
Okay. So I don't know if anyone recognises him. He's a huge figure in the history of Cambridge, and in particular in the history of science. It's a young Charles Darwin, the father of evolution, a massive figure. And he did his studies at Christ College in Cambridge. Now, normally you see him as it's what we call an eminence grise. It's an older person with a long beard looking very wise. There he is, a fresh-faced young student at Christ College. And this sculpture is in the Darwin garden at Christ College.
Oh, I see.
It's in a very quiet little corner. It's actually a little bit greener and leafier than you can see from the photos, because the plants around are all plants that were he'd have seen on his 5-year journey around South America on the Beagle. And this statue was unveiled by Prince Philip, the late Prince Philip, to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of Charles Darwin.
I see. Actually, this morning I was at the university library. I went inside. They have a Charles Darwin exhibition. So I encourage everyone who are in Cambridge.
It's just opened, hasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So
Yes.
you could combine the two, going there and then also going to Christ College to see where he studied.
We also have a big development next to Addington. It's called Darwin Green. I think it's named after Charles Darwin as well.
Absolutely. And we have a Darwin College as well.
Yes, we have Darwin College opposite to the Queen's College.
Absolutely.
The next one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, isn't this peaceful? I mean, talk about private green corners of Cambridge. You could just walk along that little path and it entices you through. And when you get round the corner, it's incredibly peaceful. And round the corner is the busy river, the punting, Pembroke College. But this area, almost always very quiet, just to sit down, beautiful plants. It's actually the churchyard of Little St Mary's. and it was laid out as a garden in the 1920s. So you might just see on the right-hand side of the path, some of the gravestones had been moved to the side to create a walkway through. And it's what's called a cultivated wild garden.
And you like
So
it
it
very
looks like
much.
wild, but actually it's carefully organized to look wild.
Yes, I remember you like it very much. You mentioned about it when in your previous talk about
Yes.
Little St. Mary's. What is the postcode of it? Is it just behind the St. Mary Church?
Little St. Mary's Church, and it's Little St. Mary's Lane. I haven't got the postcode offhand, but it's in Little St. Mary's Lane in
Okay.
Cambridge. And another thing to notice is that you can see on the right-hand side of the picture, one of the houses has got, the ground floor has got red brick, and there's a green door. The right-hand door is a green door. And there's nothing to show there, but in fact, just so that you can know and your subscribers, this is where the physicist Stephen Hawking lived as a young man with his family. And his widow Jane still owns the house and rents it out.
I see. So Stephen Hawking used to live in there.
Yeah, he lived
For a
there
while.
eventually. Then he became too disabled and had to move to somewhere which was better suited to his needs. But that's where he used to live.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, shall we go to the next one? The next secrets?
Oh, and again, so peaceful, isn't it?
It
This
is.
is Newman College, an all-women's college. It's been celebrating its 150th anniversary recently, still only women. And this picture was taken a year ago. So it was the beginning of the academic term, showing some of the new students there. And it was the start of a very difficult year for them, with various lockdowns to come, working in bubbles, not having much contact with people, lessons online, and things are hopefully getting back to normal now. But what a wonderful way to start for them, sitting in the gardens there. And you can visit the gardens at Newman College. You have to ask the porter for permission to go in there. Sometimes if you have a special event, you can't go in, but normally you can, and they have fabulous borders there and great place to visit.
Actually, not many people know that in the Newman College, they have a new cafe called Iris, and everyone could go in and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It's open to the public as well, and then you can walk through the green if they allow you to do so. Sometimes I put my students there.
Oh, right, yeah. And it's so close to the centre, and people don't go there very much, which is an advantage for anybody when they go there. Very peaceful.
Now, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Not too far from where you live, Melissa. And this is St. Peter's Church. It's the smallest church in Cambridge. You can see it's tiny, one of the oldest. This is actually 13th century, but to the left of that doorway, you can't really see on this picture, but there are some small red tiles, which are actually Roman tiles, because the church is on the site of Roman Cambridge, which was a couple of hundred years, or much longer before, many centuries before the first students arrived. So it's the most ancient part of Cambridge. And some of the tiles were used, it's recycling, were used to build the church. Now, the yellow deck chairs there are one of several. It's the most beautiful, peaceful spot to sit. And on one side, you've got the church. On the other side is Kettle's Yard, which is a university-owned art gallery, and a house which used to belong to someone called Jim Eade, who's a curator at the Tate Gallery in London. And it's all free of charge. You need to book in advance to go there. But it's an absolute gem of a place to visit. And afterwards, you can sit in the deck chairs and enjoy the peace and quiet, even though it's close to the centre of Cambridge.
Yes, I've seen some people have picnic
in
there as well, which is very nice.
Absolutely. You can go to Phillies down the road, which have wonderful sandwiches and cakes, and pick them up in a little box and take them there to have a lovely picnic.
Right. And just opposite to this little church is the Castle Hill, which you can see the whole Cambridge. Sometimes we go there to see the firework. It's very, very pretty.
I almost put a photograph of that in here, and I thought, well, it's not particularly secret because people can go there, but it's well worth having a look from there and a bird's eye view of Cambridge. Yeah.
Now let's go to the next one.
Yeah. So this is in King's College. Most people come to King's College to see the chapel, which is fabulous. It's worth a visit. But a lot of people don't make it this far. And it's very special because it's a mixture of Chinese and British plants. It's a fusion of British and Chinese culture. It's a garden which is dedicated to the Chinese romantic poet Zhu Jimu, who was at King's College in the early 1920s. And in 1928, he wrote a very famous poem about saying farewell to Cambridge when he mentions the willow trees by the river.
Yes.
And a stone of using a slab of Beijing marble was put up in his memory with the first and last lines of his poem in Mandarin.
Yes.
But more recently, in 2018, this garden was established next to it. And a lot of Chinese groups, it means a huge amount to them, as you know. It's very emotional for many people to see this stone. But a lot of them don't go just a few feet further along to see this fabulous garden, which took 3 years to complete. And it was designed on Buddhist and Taoist principles. And they have inscriptions in both English and in Mandarin on the pathway. I think it's very underused, and I think it's a beautiful place to visit. Would highly recommend.
Yes, last month we got lots of parents and students. We all went to the Singing on the River at King's College, and we had a fantastic evening. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rosie. I know you've written the book. Tell us a little bit about your new book and where you could buy it.
Well, so this is the product of all my time during the pandemic. I had lots of spare time, and it was a lovely project to do. So basically, as it says, it's a chronicle of Cambridge connections. So there's something connected with Cambridge for every day of the year. Today happens to be the day that Jane Judith Weir was made the Master of the Queen's Music. She's an alumna. She's a past student of King's College, and has written some beautiful things for King's College. Very special person to be remembered. That's more for another time to talk about her. But there's something there, and most of the things I've mentioned today are all mentioned in the book. There are nearly 300 photographs. It's in the main bookshops in the centre of Cambridge. It seems to be selling particularly well in the Cambridge University Press bookshop. They've got a new window display that started just 2 days ago where it features in that. And they've just ordered another box of books, which I delivered 3 days ago. And it's on their website as well. You can order it and they deliver.
Yeah, and we'll put the link on our Facebook group and YouTube group so people could order it. And I know you also put it on Amazon.
Yes, it's on Amazon as well. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been fun to write, and now I'm doing a few talks about it. I've got quite a few planned now, and it's just lovely getting people's feedback. People can contribute new ideas as well, and it's as a basis for discussion. And I think the first thing most people do is look up their birthdays, see what happened in Cambridge on their birthday. And really, throughout the book, you get a pretty good idea from the earliest times of the university right up to the present day. You'll get a feel for, if you read all of it together, you'll get a feel for the history of Cambridge, which is a beautiful city. And I would recommend anyone to come and visit. And even better study here.
Thank you so much, Rosie. Today is wonderful to have you to introduce 5 secret green places for us. Please like and subscribe our channel, and I will try to invite more top talents and also like Rosie or the head teachers to come to share more about tips about getting into Cambridge as well. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.